All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. We are broadcasting live from Rodizio in Henderson. You know what? I used to live on this side of town, guys, and then I moved more centrally located where I work. But I really like this side of town. There are some great restaurants here, and Rodizio is one of them. I'll tell you, I went inside the mall. I show up here with Chris Wynn early. We're setting up and everything. And I had a craving for one of those pretzels. Right?
That was the funniest part because we rolled up here into Rodizio Grill, and I'm thinking to myself, we got a bunch of food that we're going to be having pretty soon. And then just off the top of his head, Brian says, you know what? I'm in the mood for a pretzel. And it just so happens that you go down the escalator here, and you walk into the Sunset Mall, Galleria, and there happens to be a pretzel joint right there.
It was one of the best pretzels I have ever had. It was that good. And if you haven't been rolled out here to Rodizio, you definitely need to do so. So coming up here this hour, we've got Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports, the latest on David Ortiz's condition. And, boy, what a strange situation there. Ortiz wasn't even the right guy that was supposed to be shot. It's a crazy story. So we'll get an update on that from Mike Babcock. We've got Ron Futrell from Channel 8 that is going to be here this hour. Also, Brian Feldman from Fox Sports Radio. So we're not done yet, folks. We're halfway through, but we're not done yet. You could still have some time to come on down. And Steve Sear, super host, is here as well. So I always like giving people a chance to be on the radio that are interested in the business, that want to learn the business, so on and so forth. I got to tell you, man, when I was like 18, 19 years old, I was frightened when I looked at the college radio station at the college I was at. I used to listen to Howard Stern every morning, going to school. And I do remember the first time I was on the radio. It was a college station. So I don't know. Is that considered radio? College radio is radio, right?
Technically it is.
So they just played horrendous music. It was just awful music. And I said to myself, I don't want to play this crap. I want to complain about my teachers. I want to complain about the school I'm going to. So that's all I did. I did a talk show, 1 hour a week, just complaining about the school and my professors. And there was this window in front of the radio station, and I remember there were shows I did where I had 40 or 50 people out there just laughing and hanging out, and that's when I said to myself, I think that's what I want to do for work. That's what I want to do for radio. So I've known Steve Sear, and the reason why I bring that up is I've known Steve Sear for a long time, and he's a friend of the show, friend of ours, and Steve is a mega host. What I mean by that is some of his clients, Michael Jordan, casino host, Michael Jordan, Larry Flint, just to name a few, and he introduced me to his cousin, who joins us right now, Austin. And Austin, I wanted to get you on the radio because I know you're interested in this business. First of all, what is it like to have a cousin like Steve Sear? Because I like to call him a very fun madman in this town. He's nuts in a good sense. He throws the best parties. He hangs out with the hottest women. He is just, right? Guys, help me out on this one. JD?
It is an interesting, to say the least, setup, dealing with Steve, because you never know what's going to be around the corner with a guy like that, right? I mean,
yes.
I think that's safe to say.
Austin, is that fair? Am I describing your cousin correctly?
I'll tell you what.
Talk into the mic. Don't be afraid.
I'll tell you what. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I graduated college. 2 weeks out of college, I come out here to Vegas. I was talking to Steve before, and I was like, hey, I want to come experience it. I want to see what it's all about. I drive out on a Sunday afternoon, all day Sunday, not even afternoon, all day Sunday, Get there Monday, and bam, big party going on that Monday. And I'll tell you what, not even 24 hours. And, it's crazy. I can't describe it. His 24 miles, 100 miles an hour all the time. Just go, 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 go. And it's awesome.
He knows. Okay, so if you called up Steve, and you said, hey, I want a suite. Can you get me a $500 comp at this steakhouse? I would imagine he's the kind of guy that could get that stuff for you.
I think if I asked, he'd pull some strings and probably get it worked out. I wouldn't be too surprised if he could do that. Yeah.
And I just gave out his book to a few loyal listeners. It really is a fantastic book. Just some stories about his life. Mm-hmm. So tell me, why do you want to be in the radio business? Because I've lived paycheck to paycheck my whole life. So why do you want to put yourself through hell? Explain that to me.
I don't really know what exactly I want to do. And like you were saying earlier, the college radio, and I was one of those guys that did the college radio, but I didn't do the talk show. I did the shitty radio music, Oh,
that's okay.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, I did the radio music, and I just feel like getting into the talk show. I think I want to go more the sports talk show route, which I know there's a lot of people doing that, so it'd be really hard to get into. But I just think it'd be kind of an interesting career path to maybe go down and just kind of see what happens from it,
What are some of your favorite hosts? Some of your favorite sports shows?
I'm not gonna lie, I really like the Barstool Sports guys.
Those guys are good. The pizza guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, Dave Pointer.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites, and Big Cat. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily sports talk show hosts, but just kind of that joking mentality where they can kind of talk about everything, but they kind of throw sports in there, and they get those interviews with those big time people. I think that's just really interesting. Getting to have all those connections and getting to talk to all those people is really cool. So that's kind of where that came in, and then just being on the campus radio was just a really cool experience. Not that many people listen, but it was still kind of cool to just get to do that and see what it was all about.
So when Steve graduated college, of course, he had options as far as he wanted to work in the gaming industry. So it was either going to Atlantic City or coming here to Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. For you, obviously being young and a guy who's just getting your career started, what was the motivation to come out here? Was Vegas your one spot that you were thinking about, or were there other places maybe in the country that you were looking to go and maybe get your feet wet?
Well, I was applying for different internships, here and there, all around, and I'm originally from Kansas, 15 miles from Steve, where he grew up, and I knew I did not want to go back there. There's no chance I was going back there once I graduated, and I didn't know where I was going to go, so I was like, hey, Steve, what's going on? Because my internship I do have coming up in the fall. I'm going down to Florida in August, and I'm going to start my internship out there, but I didn't know what I was going to do during the summer months, so I was like, hey, Steve, can I come out and live with you for a couple months and just kind of get to see what you do? Because I never really knew exactly what he did, but it's fascinating what he
All right,
does,
so I want to bring this up. JD, earmuffs, because I know you're married, so earmuffs. No, but seriously, Steve hangs out with so many hot women.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. He's my
really
idol, okay? Chris is also single, as myself.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a conversation with your cousin Steve Sear and say, hey, can I get sloppy seconds? Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that conversation? Be honest. Have you ever had that conversation?
I have not. I have not,
Be honest.
unfortunately. I have. I can say honestly, I have not asked for his sloppy seconds. I have not. And
hey, that makes you a good
it
person,
wouldn't be above me to do it, but I have not, honestly.
Do you ever just say to him, how do you pull this off? Like, Steve, how do you do it? No, I'm serious. Look, Steve is a good-looking guy. He's a great, smart guy. He's very successful.
Very.
But every single time I hang out with this guy, he is hanging out with a supermodel.
Yeah,
and I know I sound like a very shallow person because I am, okay? But it is unbelievable to me, this guy. Honestly, how old is Steve, by the way?
He's 55.
And he's hanging
It's
out with a bunch of
incredible.
21-year-olds. It's
incredible.
unbelievable. I mean, listen, I'm jealous. I'm envious. I really am. I'm envious of him. I don't know. I'm speechless, really.
I think it has to go with the way that he's just such a smooth talker that when he goes up and talks to these girls, they're just so intrigued. And, they probably don't know who he is. These 22-year-olds. Shit, he's been out here longer than they've been alive.
That's true. He has,
They don't know who he is, and bam, he comes in smooth talking them, and bada bing, bada boom, there it is.
That is true. That is true.
And then they find out a little later, who he is, and then that's when it's really go time for Steve. I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Go
what it is,
time.
you guys. It's
Go
kind of the
time.
nature of that
That's a
business.
That's a great word to use there. I think Steve just has the utmost amount of confidence and swagger. He's got that
does.
Steve
Have
Sears
you seen him
swagger.
walking around?
That's Salina, Kansas, Steve Sears swagger.
But JD, don't you think it's kind of like the nature of the business with him? It's kind of like that's the lifestyle that those people, that the people that work in the casino host industry. It's all about the I don't want to say glitz and glamour, but it's kind of like you're making people's fantasies come true, or you're putting people in a position where they can do things that they wouldn't be able to do if they're back.
Wait, hold on a second.
You know what I'm saying, though? If they're back in Madison, Wisconsin.
I thought that's what the Bunny Ranch is for, making fantasies come true.
But you understand my
No,
point.
Chris,
where
he actually
It's a
just described
horrendous joke.
He just
I'm sorry.
described a unicorn, basically.
I did go that direction. But look, you can't do it if you're in Lansing, Michigan, or Madison, Wisconsin, or play.
That's a fun place, Madison.
Yeah,
Yes,
Madison's
but
pretty fun.
But you see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like
oh,
it's
yeah.
it's
Insane.
more of a lifestyle, more of a kind of the nature of the beast for him in that business.
Yeah. No,
Well, okay, so Austin, stick around here because you are a sports fan. I do want to get to this. Switching topics here real quickly because I'm just so angry and envious of Steve Sear. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. Zion Williamson, I know this is a shocker to all of us, but he is going number one. Okay, I know that's just an extreme shocker. I actually think immediately he is going to be a double-double guy. Am I wrong in assuming that that he will be averaging a double-double in year one right away, probably in the first month.
Are you asking me, Austin, or Chris?
Anybody, all three of you.
Okay. So the Pelicans they just picked up an option for Jahlil Okafor, who came out of Duke about 3 or 4 years ago. He was kind of a bust to start. He slimmed down. He averaged about 17 and 8 a game with the Sixers in his first year, and then he just kind of fell off the map. But he plays for the Pelicans now at the 5. They have Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. They just drafted Jackson Hayes as well. If they keep Jrue Holiday, the Pelicans can actually contend in the Western Conference. I would not be shocked at all. Because the NBA loves Zion Williamson. So do all the endorse. So does Nike. So he's going to get a lot of. I mean, he'll be the next probably LeBron James endorsement wise. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Zion averaged 21 plus and a couple of steals,
very possible.
5 assists,
Under the right system.
9 to 10 rebounds a game. It wouldn't shock me at all.
So let me ask you guys this. Does this shock you that the Toronto Raptors have not yet decided if they will be visiting Donald Trump in the White House? They have not made a decision yet. Does it surprise you that they haven't said no already?
Well, is there one little technicality here that maybe is the elephant in the room? They're a Canadian team, right? So why not just go visit the Prime Minister of Canada? Why is there have
because
to be
Chris,
a visit
Kawhi
to the White House?
Kawhi Leonard is a massive Donald Trump supporter.
He is.
And
Is he
one
really?
Of the
I didn't
reasons
know
why
that.
he left the Spurs
That's true.
is because Popovich was so negative towards Donald Trump.
All due respect.
You think that's
reality.
why they end up parting ways
No,
and making that trade? Is because of
that's
politics?
documented. That's 100% true.
All due respect, though, to Canada, their national anthem is very boring. I mean, it starts off.
It is the
I mean,
worst.
oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
That's boring. I'm sorry. What if our national anthem was like, "Oh, America"? That's boring. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress.
But their prime minister is a ladies' man, though. He's a pretty
is-
boy.
Listen, I think that part of the Toronto Raptors will show up. I don't think they're going to say no as a team. I do think Kawhi will show up. I do think the coach will show up. I do think select players will not show up, and we should probably take bets. I don't think Kyle Lowry shows up.
Is it just going to be those three, though? The
Well,
coach?
it doesn't make any
Kawhi.
sense, right? If you have 3 guys show up at the White House.
I'm willing to say Kyle Lowry is not a Donald Trump MAGA hat supporter. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't think Siakam is a Donald Trump MAGA supporter.
Brian, can Siakam speak English?
A little bit. Let's not make fun of him because he doesn't speak
I'm
English.
not making fun of him. I'm saying
Look, if you want to make fun of anyone that can't speak English.
Marvin Menzies brought him here from Africa.
By the way,
In what? 2014, 2013?
UNLV head coach TJ Altenberger did text me today. By the way, private conversation.
How'd that go?
Private conversation. Anyway,
Speaking of UNLV, Pat McCaw also is he going to go to the White
Pat
House? We'll see
McCaw
that. And Jeremy Lin.
is a good luck charm.
Yes.
And
He's a victory cigar, right, JD?
If the Lakers sign
Okay.
Pat McCaw, they're winning next year.
Yeah, because how many minutes did Pat McCaw play in the playoffs?
Probably
by the way?
7.
Is that how much?
I think that's accurate.
I
That
would say probably
absolutely on
probably
point,
3 to
JD.
5 per game.
Yes.
Well, listen, I don't know what the Toronto Raptors are going to do, but I'm going to guess that several players will show up to the White House to see Donald Trump. I'm also going to guess that Donald Trump serves either Burger King or McDonald's. I'm going to guess he probably serves fast food because it's a very classy thing to do. That's what presidents do. They serve fast food in the White House. He's a very, very classy president. That's what they do. I mean, come on, right?
That's not what he does for professional teams. Just for college
Donald
teams.
Trump calls up Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and he says, listen, go through the drive-through. I want you to get 100 items off the dollar menu. Wait, I'm sorry. Is McDonald's still have a dollar menu?
I think they do. It's very limited
might.
now. It's getting limited.
Do they still? I don't
I
even
think
know.
they sell pizza now at McDonald's.
All I know is if I do go to the White House one day, I want Arby's to be on the menu because I'm a huge fan of the large roast beef
McChicken, we'll
sandwich.
Do you like the cheese sticks, Chris?
I do like the cheese sticks
So,
too, JD. They're
what
good.
do you tell your
Really good.
children? So, listen, what do you tell your grandkids? Like, I remember that day when I went to the White House and I met Donald Trump. Really? Yeah, we had dinner with the president. Oh, wow. How was the food? Oh, I got the special dollar fries and I got the dollar drink.
I got
Yeah.
the number 3, with the
mean,
quarter pounder with the cheese with a large fry.
I'm sorry. Everything this guy does is classless. Anyway, my laptop just died. That's fine. But anyway, going back to what we were saying.
I like how clean your laptop is, Brian.
It's extremely
It
clean.
reminds me of your
Yeah.
car. It's very, very clean.
It's extremely clean. But anyway, going back to Zion Williamson,
Yes.
obviously number one. There's no question he's going to be averaging a double-double. Look, the NBA landscape is going to be very, very interesting
Honestly,
next year.
it's wide open next year. I would not. I mean, I think the Pelicans at 60-1 right now is a good future bet, and I'm actually going to put a hefty wager on it
At
myself very soon.
60 to
They're
1?
60-1, and they're
Listen, I'm not going to deny you because you did hit on the Toronto
I
Raptors
did.
at 20-1.
Oh,
So I think JD does know what he's talking about.
I had a couple of different bets, but
Yes.
yeah, I was definitely profitable in NBA futures this year.
And JD, a reason for that, right, is because normally the team that gets the number one pick is just an atrocious basketball team, right? But that's not the case this year, right? I mean, the Pelicans, given the Anthony Davis trade with the Lakers, they have some legit pieces to go along with them.
And not only that, but they shouldn't have gotten this pick. They were like one of the last ones to get the pick. They got really lucky in the lottery, so they weren't that bad to start with. And they already have Jrue Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, trading Anthony Davis and getting all those assets, then trading the number 4 pick for 2 more picks in the first round and picks next year. They might they ended up getting rid of they had a big contract, Solomon Hill, who was the 7th pick in the draft out of Arizona like a couple of years ago. He was getting paid $15 million a year and averaging 5 a game. That money, now they have probably $50-60 million in cap space to pick up a major free agent.
Now that we are talking about basketball, I do want to bring up a basketball story that involves Steve Sear, the superhost. So he spent a lot of time at the Palms. He's worked at the Palms. And I remember he invites me to a party, and I'm up there at the Hardwood Suite. Austin, have you ever been up there?
I have not. No.
So they have a basketball court up there in this suite at the Palms. So I go up to this party, and it was during USA Basketball was in town. And all of a sudden, I see Jay Williams shooting and Manu Ginobili.
Wow.
2 legends. I mean, look, Jay Williams got hurt and his NBA career was cut short. Manu Ginobili's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I see these guys shooting on the court. And now I'm wearing jeans and a shirt, and obviously they're wearing jeans. They just happen to be in town, invited to this party. I say, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I can shoot, by the way. That's all I can do, but I can shoot. So I go up to Manu, and I say, let's play a game of horse. And he looks at me like I'm a little crazy. And then Jay Williams says, man, we do this for a living. And then he's like, okay, let's do it. And then Manu's like, okay. First of all, I gave Manu a letter. Okay, I am very proud of that. I'm not exaggerating when I say Jay Williams did not miss a shot the entire game. And so I lasted about 5 minutes, like most of my dates, but that's another story for another show. Manu Ginobili, I'm watching Manu Ginobili and Jay Williams play horse with each other. I'm the reason for it. And Manu ended up losing. Jay Williams must have made 15 threes in a row. He didn't miss a shot. And I'm thinking to myself, this is another unbelievable Vegas story. I'm playing a game of horse with Manu Ginobili and Jay Williams. Then we go downstairs, and I'm playing craps with Jay Williams. And he was a don't player, which was interesting. There's the pass, and there's don't. He was a don't pass player. But that's one of those stories that I'll never forget, and it's all because of superhost Steve Sear, because he invited me to this party. It was unbelievable.
So what you're saying is they were not intimidated by the Central Connecticut 3-point intramural champion that Brian Shapiro is when you're on the court.
You know what Manu Ginobili said to me in his accent? He called me Sean Marion. He's like, you have the Sean Marion shot.
You know what's funny? Brian's nickname in high school was the plumber.
Do you know why that is, Austin?
I do not.
It has nothing to do with where his pants hung on his backside or anything.
No, nobody wants to. It's because I drained threes. That's why. Yeah, I have a horrible girl set shot. Okay, and I say because most women, they start a little lower. Like
he can barely touch that.
Throw it up there almost.
He can barely touch that sometimes.
If I'm open or nobody's playing defense, it's not touching the rim. And unlike Steph Curry, I can make shots in the clutch. Okay, so but no, that was a really, really fun time. I think of a couple other. Since we're talking about basketball, I remember watching USA Basketball 10 years ago when LeBron James and Kobe Bryant on the team. They were practicing at Valley High School. There were about maybe 30 members of the media in the gym, a lot of coaches, and I'm watching Kobe Bryant guard LeBron James in a scrimmage for 45 minutes, and they're jawing at each other like they wouldn't in a regular NBA game. Like you could hear everything in this gym, and Jason Kidd was out there. I mean, all these guys, legends were out there.
Yeah.
And watching Kobe and LeBron guard each other for that long is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. And, when you live in this town, when you live in Las Vegas, when you know guys like Steve Sear, when you work in the media, when you know people, you get to experience things that, stuff like this you never forget for the rest of your life. Me and JD went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year when we started this show. We went to USA Basketball. We watched Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Steph Curry doing drills together for 45 minutes?
I watched Kevin Durant, who's every bit of 7'1", by the way. He is not 6'9". And he is the best. He is the best offensive player I've ever seen in my entire life. I watched him 2 feet in front of me. I was sitting down on a chair.
This was the Golden State Warriors.
This was the
Lakers.
the preseason game.
It was practice, though.
Yeah.
So let me just explain before you finish the story. So the Golden State Warriors are practicing the morning of the game. So we're allowed to go to practice. Now, the Lakers wouldn't let us into practice. We interviewed LeBron James, but they wouldn't let us watch practice. The Golden State Warriors allowed us on the court And KD is doing these drills, and me and JD, we're just like sitting courtside there, literally. Kevin Durant is like 2 feet away from JD, taking shots. Go ahead, JD. It was incredible.
He literally hit 15. He might have been 23 pointers in a row.
Oh,
were you just mesmerized?
And again, this guy's 7'1".
It's just incredible.
He's just a monstrous human being, just hitting 3 after. And not even touching the rim.
that was a pretty cool
I
experience.
have it on video. That was completely insane.
And when you live in Las Vegas, you get to see these things, and it's almost like on a regular basis, right?
And it's going to be more consistent. I mean, the MLS, NBA,
sure,
MLB. I mean, Vegas is going to have
now
every
the Raiders
single
coming out here too.
Absolutely, every single major sport in the next 5 years.
And you'll get to experience too, because the NBA Summer League is coming to town in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And not only do you get a chance to see the young players showcase that are getting drafted tonight, but we've gone to games, right, Brian, where we've sat up in the stands and you've got Danny Ainge to your right. And you've got Luke Walton and Greg Popovich to your left. Like it's so hand.
Brian, who was that ref? Who was that legendary ref that was
Joey
sitting
Crawford?
next to us?
We were sitting next to Joey. I took a picture with Joey Crawford and I told him to give me a technical, and he did in the picture. The best experience that I've ever had in Las Vegas in almost 20 years. I'll say it briefly. I know I'm like storytelling now, but I like telling these stories. Maybe I'm the only one that likes to tell them, but that's fine. Muhammad Ali's 70th birthday. Okay. This was at MGM Grand. It was, I think, a $5,000 a plate dinner. And I'm doing the red carpet. Everybody was there. I mean, every A-list celebrity you can imagine. I met James Gandolfini, the late James Gandolfini. So I'm sitting at a table. One of the guys running this whole thing at MGM said, "Do you want to get into the dinner?" I said, "Absolutely." So I thought I'd be sitting in back somewhere with the cheapskates,
Yeah.
He puts me at a table. To my left is Sir Anthony Hopkins. To my right is Samuel L. Jackson. Sitting across from me is Jerry Jones. And I have Sir Anthony Hopkins saying, "Brian, tell me a little bit about Las Vegas. What is it like to live here?" And that's my impersonation of Eddie. It's horrible.
That was really good.
And then to my table to my left is Muhammad Ali and his family. Chris Cornell, John Legend, James Gandolfini, Snoop Dogg, Aerosmith was there.
Incredible.
Every A-list celebrity was there because not only was it to raise money for the Lou Rufo Brain Institute, but it was also to support Muhammad Ali for his 70th birthday. I got a chance because I was a huge Sopranos fan, and I still am. And I had a chance to shake James Gandolfini's hand. This was a year before he died. He didn't look too good, and I said to him, I said, "I just want to say thank you," and he was like so humbled. He was just such a humble guy, almost uncomfortable that I was thanking him, and I'll always remember that. That probably that and the Kobe LeBron story that I told you are probably my two. Besides this moment, of course, sitting with all of you, was probably one of those moments that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. But it seems like you always create new ones in this town. We've got NBA Summer League guys coming up here in just a few weeks. We have USA basketball practicing here in just a few weeks. We just saw LeBron James, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook sitting courtside at a Las Vegas Aces game. This is a regular occurrence. The Raptors were just partying here. They put a jet in here to party it up in Las Vegas. The St. Louis Blues, we just had the NHL awards yesterday here. The St. Louis Blues were in town celebrating their Stanley Cup win. What doesn't happen in this town? That's my question.
Well,
let's
be honest, though. When the Raiders get here, that's going to be a true game changer. Because for so many years here in Las Vegas, look, I've only been here since 2003. But even back then, it was an absolute pipe dream to think the NFL would ever make an appearance here or have a franchise here. And the fact that there's going to be a franchise, and not just any expansion franchise, right, guys? I mean, the Raiders from Oakland,
and they have a
one of the more recognizable franchises in the NFL coming here. That you got to believe that's going to be a huge game changer, right?
Wow, and look at who is walking in right now. Ron Futrell, get over here, buddy. Get over here. The man, pick up a microphone. The man, the myth, the legend, Ron Futrell from Channel 8 is gracing us with his presence. Mr. Futrell.
You intentionally did not tell me Chris Wynn was going to be here.
That's right.
All right, what a...
Because we'd be getting into a JD and Brian debate right now.
I would have been here sooner. You didn't let me finish. ... I would have been here sooner had I known Chris
Ron would
Wynn
have showed
was
up
here.
around 4 o'clock if he knew that.
Ron, where are you coming from?
From Channel 8, which is by the Wynn.
Yes.
So
what are you
right
covering
the
today?
Wynn.
What is your coverage
I did
today?
Aviators tonight. Did an Aviator story about the joy of sitting out in left field and watching baseball out there. What's a nice little section out there.
I would think that you would sit on the right side of the field.
I'm very diverse. And I'm open to new ideas, fresh ideas. That's the way we conservatives are. And so, yeah, it was seriously, it was life in left field, which I wanted to make jokes about that on air. I didn't.
Did you cover the NHL awards? Were you at the NHL awards?
I was not. I didn't want to pay for parking at Mandalay Bay.
It's kind of boring, isn't it? But there was a touching story of the Canadiens goaltender hugging that kid who had lost his mom, and those two became friends. I think you get stories like that, which I think is really cool. But as a whole, I think the NHL awards are very, very boring.
I think all award shows are boring.
Excuse me, not the AVN awards, my friend. Okay, don't knock it till you try it. Okay.
Okay, then I did not include I have not seen the AVN, the Adult Film Awards.
I'm shocked your wife hasn't asked you to go to
them. I have not seen them, but I'll take your word for it and leave it at that. But it's nearly all, virtually. I'll use virtually.
Okay.
Virtually all award shows are pretty boring. So I went last year when it was at Hard Rock, where you don't have to pay for parking. So this was. I didn't. It wasn't worth $35 to me to pay for the parking or whatever it is over there now.
Is that what they don't charge that much money?
25, 35? No, but it's on principle. It's principle.
I got you.
Yeah, Bugsy Siegel would be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew that there was a casino or multiple casinos charging for parking in the city.
I want to ask you about this, and then we're going to take a break, and you better stick around for the next segment.
I want food. Hold on, we're at a Brazilian steakhouse.
I'll tell you what, I will ask it when we come back.
Okay.
We have Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports going to be joining us, but after that, I want to get you back on here. I want to ask you your thoughts on the Toronto Raptors, if they will or will not be going to the White House. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Ron Futrell is going to come back with us.
Thank you.
Austin, thank you so much, man. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming.
Really cool.
Yeah, that was great. Appreciate it. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Justin Bieber and Tom Cruise getting in the octagon. Yeah, this just got a step closer. It might actually happen. We'll get to Mike Babcock. We'll talk about this when we come back. Ron Futrell will join us from Channel 8. We're still at Rodizio. We're going to be hanging out here for a while in Henderson. Free food. Plenty of appetizers out there. I haven't had a chance to eat any of them yet. I gotta eat some when we get off the air. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.